Hey everybody, it's me, Eric Buck, coming to you live and direct from my Nighthawk Network studios here in the D. It is time once again for my show, Get Off My Lawn Live. And here I am, your host, Eric Buckner, ready to come to you today with this week's topics and things we want to discuss. Sometimes it gets to a point to where there's so much to discuss. I mean, I had just so many thoughts. There's a lot of people basically sending in their requests for me to discuss things and put them out to the forum for others to comment on. So, thusly, at those points, I will have what will we call a mixed bag. In other words, I'll have a mixed bag of discussion. And keep in mind, as I discuss the various topics that's in my bag, and yes, people, I literally have a bag with topics in it. We're going to pull one out, discuss. But of course, there's things that you too may want to discuss. And if so, I have the comments ready to be accessed. So you guys can go ahead and let me know what you got going, and we will go from there. Now, keep in mind, we're still working with the technology, folks. So, as a backup, I will access my own Facebook page. So, in the event I can't see who's actually commenting, I will be able to at least see them on my page, hopefully. And between those two mediums, we'll be able to get everybody in to see what they have to say. Now, all right, I do believe I had that properly set up for you, and we will get it cracking. So, without further ado, my friends, let us go with the show. Get Off My Lawn Live is now on the air. And like I said, today we're talking about a mixed bag. So let's grab the bag here, go dig in here and see what I have to discuss for us first. Let's see what we got, people. All right. We will start with the latest on the stimulus relief bill. Now, of course, I will safely assume that it's highly unlikely that anything will happen this week in regards to the stimulus relief bill because, as we know, Congress has other things they're more concerned with, at least the Senate does. We will get to that. That's in the bag in there somewhere. I ain't going to jump the gun on that one. But back to the actual relief package itself. Now, from what we're being told, the two sides are several billions of dollars apart. Basically, the Democrats want a more extensive package that covers a lot of the things, even those that didn't get covered in the first package. And the Republicans, not so much. They want to spend less, particularly when it comes to two key points. One, they do not want to have what they call bailout money for the states and cities, particularly those states and cities who have determined that it's in their better interest to shut things down and kept them shut down longer because of the pandemic. They feel those states acted in error, and the reason why they will suffer now is because they should have opened up more things sooner. So we're not going to bail them out with the money. But then keep in mind some of the cities that they really don't want to help: the New Yorks, the Los Angeleses, those cities. Two of the largest cities in the United States, Chicago. When you consider what they contribute into the actual money itself, as opposed to the smaller states and the smaller cities, they present a greater amount of money to the overall conglomerate, which is the United States. So you're basically telling them that, yeah, I understand that we make a good part of our money based on what your cities and states do, but we don't want to give you that money. We don't think you deserve it. What sense does that make, people? Please gain me some understanding. But anyway, in the meanwhile, there's tens of millions of us suffering right now because we do not have the access to not only the stimulus, which of course would help most of us, but also that enhanced money that comes from the unemployment, the $600, as some of us know it to be. Now, keep in mind, from my understanding, they do want to reinstate either 400 to 600 of the $600 and have that go to at least the end of January. Now, you have to remember the virus is still very much alive and well. Not gonna get into that just yet. That's in the bag. But the bottom line is tomorrow we're not gonna open everything back up everywhere. Florida maybe. Florida, that's a whole nother stuff. Pray for them children. But anyway, but in terms of the rest of the country, a lot of us will wake up still unemployed tomorrow. Meanwhile, we have bills, people, and right now people are making some tough decisions. Remember, the holidays are coming, but how can you consider what to do for Thanksgiving and Christmas when you're not sure you're gonna be able to pay the rent, the car note, the insurance, the health insurance, and the several other bills that your household may require? And then it really gets tough when you have additional family members, the little ones. So not only do you have to remember that when people get that $600, some of us, yeah, we just get it for ourselves. But other people, that $600 has to spread out to them, the children, and the rest of the household. Because everybody doesn't have a two-parent family with two kids and we don't have that typical home that suburbanites may think you're supposed to have, some of them. But I digress. Anyway, like I said, the issue is that we need them to concentrate on what really needs to be concentrated on. There was a poll that I saw at NBC this morning that said 70% of us would prefer them to work on this right now, the relief package, and not Congress dealing with what they're dealing with. And like I said, that's in the bag, so we'll get to that discussion. But okay, I got a couple comments here. Hey, cousin, how's it going? And Stan Mason, my man Stan, shout out to you, brother. Stan Mason is the host of a show called Behind the Blue Curtain. Comes Saturday at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. He talks about policing and some of the things that goes on behind the scenes inside the curtain itself. You know what I'm saying? It's a very informative show, particularly if you want to know what goes on in the world of law and order. Please check it out. I will post it as I do some of my other podcast buddies on my Get Off My Lawn info page, which you will be able to find on Facebook. Look up Get Off My Lawn info. Right there, you see that little icon? Hold on. Yeah, that one right there. You want to look that up, and you will find his show and several others as they get broadcasted. So, again, shout out to you, Stan. All right. We got Dave watching. I see you, Dave. What's good, buddy? The Cardinal was in the building. Another show that you may want to check out for Show Radio. They come through usually Friday and Saturday. They've been doing this a lot longer than myself. And, I'm a little entertained, but Dave, Cardinal Dave, that brother off the chain. But yeah, he still will put some thoughts in your head. So yeah, you want to check him out too. You will also be able to find that on the Get Off My Lawn information page. Now again, that's it for this topic. Let's see what else we got here in the mixed bag to discuss. Right, digging in the bag, we got a little tip here. Now, I don't know how many of you have Cash App, but as I was kind of perusing that a few weeks ago, well, actually a month or so ago, there is a app on there that if you click on it, it will tell you about how they have it set up where you can invest in what's known as mini stocks. Now, there's other apps. I think Charles Schwab has one, and I believe there's one called Robinhood, where you basically, for those of you that kind of want to see what the stock market is like, and you really don't have a lot to invest, but you kind of want to see the workings of it and how you could dabble with it, you can go into that app, particularly one on Cash App, and it'll show the various stocks, and you could buy a little mini piece of a stock. In other words, you could get a piece of a share for as little as $1. And basically, as you buy that share, you can follow the market from there. It'll show you the ups and downs. It'll show you how much the actual share is. In some cases, you buy your dollar's worth of share, that stock splits. Guess what? You got two little pieces of stock for $1. Now, I've been doing that, like I said, for about 6 weeks now, and I'm actually up $2.53. Might have to, when I get some real money, invest in it a little more, because as crazy as all this is, unfortunately, what the leader is saying is true. The stock market, it's been going up and down, and Basically, if you hit the right ones, you might make a little change. Something to look into. Again, go to Cash App. You'll see right there on the bottom, there's this little squiggly thing. You click on that. That should show you about the mini stocks. It'll show you how it works and what you need to do to put in $1 or so. It's worth a little thing to invest. Check it out. So that's that subject. Back to the bag, folks. See what we got. All right. This is a good one. Now we about to talk about voting discrepancies. Let's get into that for a minute. Now, here's the thing. According to the recent reports, 12 million people have already voted early. Remember, in last year's election cycle, the 2016, 40% of all people did not, that is 40% of all people that were registered to, did not vote at all. Not at all. So when you consider 12 million people have voted and we still got 3 weeks before the actual election day comes, that's a good sign. And how much you want to bet that most of the people who have voted early have not voted for the person presently in charge? I safely say that's a safe bet. Remember, in the last presidential election, the person who's actually president right now, the person who's actually running the country, did not win the popular vote. He had 3 million people less vote for him than the person who had the more votes. Yet, because of the Electoral College and people, for the love of God, if you do not understand these things, Google people, look them up. Talk to someone like myself who understands how Electoral College works. You need to gain an understanding of how that is. When you say your vote does not matter, part of why it actually does is because even if you assume that, okay, I'll waste my vote on blah, 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 splee, and everybody else going to vote, and it's just going to go that way, that assumption has cost us God knows what in the end. But think about how the country looking now as opposed to did 4 years ago. And if in the end you one of those people that care more about the money you made or that type of stuff as opposed to your quality of life and the people that were here that's not here because of how people have ran the government and told people what they should have told them and not what they should have told them and what have you, it's something to think about. But see, here's the thing. We already having voter discrepancies. And remember, the president himself was saying that, yeah, there's going to be problems. But keep in mind, part of the problem is that his people are causing problems. When I say his people, I'm talking in particularly about some of these Republican ran states and some of the things that's going on there, as well as some of the other things that Republican Party are trying to pull over. Couple examples. For example, in Texas, they have now ruled by the Texas Supreme Court that there will only be one satellite place for early ballots to be held. In other words, you are allowing some early voting in Texas, but you can only take that to one particular place to place your vote. Now, keep in mind, broke down a little something. Texas, as a state, has 29 million people. It's one of the 3 biggest states in the United States. There are more than 11.7% of the population of Texas are people who are African American. In other words, 1/10 of everybody who has skin like this live in Texas. First of all. Second of all, out of all the states in the United States over the last 10 years, the place that has the most declining number of places to pass your vote, in other words, voting precincts, is Texas. They have reduced the amount of polling places more than any other state in the country. Another thing, Texas has several cities that have more than 100,000 people in. In fact, they have at least 40 cities that have more than 100,000 people. And most of those cities go into one particular county. So let's just say the majority of people who live in the city, I mean, particularly take Houston, for instance. Houston has about 4 million people right now. Let's just assume that 2.5 million of them can vote. Now, do you actually expect 2.5 million people to vote on November 3rd? Imagine what type of crowd that would be. Keeping in mind, okay, if you watch the news today, they showed how they started early voting yesterday in Georgia. Did you see some of those lines? One of my partners who will probably check in on the book at some point, hopefully, Big Meech, shout out to you, Big Meech. He posted on his Facebook Live yesterday his whole process of how he went through the line. Took him several hours to vote early, mind you, to vote early. It took him several hours in the state of Georgia. So imagine you trying to squeeze some 20, 22 million people to vote one day. That is why early voting should have been necessary, truthfully. Because how many people will it take to process all those people if everybody voted the same day? First of all. Second of all, they have early voting, but every county has one place to pass your early vote. Here in Detroit alone, I looked it up today, there's at least 9 different places where you can go and drop your early ballot right now. 9 places. Detroit has a population of about 700,000 people. Like I said, Houston is 4 million plus. And in that county, that's just counting Houston. There's at least 2 other cities that account for that particular county. And all those cities combined, that 5 million plus, have one box where you can go and place your vote in. And you know they're not taking votes all day long. They're taking them pretty much during business hours. So you mean to tell me a county with 5, 6 million, like I said, it's maybe 10 or 12 states that only have 5 million people right now, entire states. But this one part of Texas, you expect them to have one box to place their early ballots in? Are you serious? Now, of course, the argument that Texas had with the Supreme Court, they pretty much said that, okay, remember, you have 40 days between when voting was set up for early vote until the actual day of the election to cast your vote early. So since you have 40 days, you have plenty of time to get to that one said box. But remember, again, Texas, almost 30 something million people. You have to vote in the county that you are registered in. So it's not like you can take said ballot and take it elsewhere to get dealt with. You need to take it to the place where you're able to vote early. Otherwise, you need to vote in a place where you're allowed to vote early. 32 million people. Don't you see where the problem might come in with that? I do. Another issue, California. California has set up a system where they have people now who have placed ballot boxes for early voting. But those boxes are not county or state regulated boxes. These are additional boxes that some Republican Party members have set out for people to place their votes in. And I guess the understanding is that they will then take said votes and make sure they get to the county. Now, the problem with that is, keep in mind, most places that have early voting ballots set up have 24-hour surveillance, so that when you go to place your vote and it's put in said box, somebody's watching that box at all times. These other places with these extra boxes, they don't necessarily have that security. And who's to say what happens then? The president already has said that it's been different variations of voter fraud, so to speak, with ballots coming up missing, being thrown in the trash, in the river and whatnot. Most of that, of course, not properly vetted or shown to be true, but yet and still he's put that out there. So who's to say that you take this extra box that's not state or city regulated, take said ballots out, Scan them. Oh no, that's not the person I wanted to say it is. Take said ballots, get rid of those. Take other ones, put them back in another box. People sign off. Boom. Yeah, here are all the ballots. And then, even if you do find out they did that, then at that point, the president will go ahead and turn it around like, see, people mess with the votes, just like I said. Not even point out the fact that it was some of his people that did it. That doesn't serve his purpose. Bottom line is he wants to show some discrepancy so he can challenge the vote in the end, particularly if that vote is close. Remember, for all the foolishness that he's trying to set up right now, if in the end he loses the popular vote by, say, 20, 30 million votes, all the little foolery in the world he could try, there's no way he's going to come up with 30 million votes that got thrown away to where he would be ahead of that person. So that's why the Biden campaign is pretty much saying we need to win and win convincingly so there's no doubts. Because remember, on election night, they may announce who's ahead, but because of how this voting thing is set up, particularly during the pandemic, it may be a week or 2 or 3 before we know who actually won for real, for real. So let's see how that plays out. So anyway, like I said, people, be careful with this ballot stuff. If you're not sure, then there is a website, ivote.gov or ivote.com. Go to it. It will show you in your particular state where you can go and safely paste your ballot or get an absentee ballot or polling places, what have you. And if there's any discrepancies beyond that, make sure you let the powers that be know that immediately. Because no, you will not scam on our vote. We will not let you do so. No. So anyway, that's what I feel about that one. Again, like I said, if you have any things you want me to address while I'm going on in the bag here, something you want to add to the bag yourself, by all means, let me know through the comments. Right now, I'm not really getting many comments, so please let me know what you are thinking as we go along here. Like I said, I'm about to go ahead and dig in the bag again and see what we come up with next. Stand by, folks. So I'm checking my other feeds to make sure we simpatico here. All right. Let's see what we got now. All right. Well, now we're going to have a little discussion about some black-owned businesses. Now, keep in mind, I want to make this a show that highlights black-owned business because I am a person of color, but also because I do plan on opening up my own business sometime post-pandemic because it's better at that point for me to do so. And I would want people to support me, so it's only natural that I want to support them as well. But keep in mind, as I ask people on the show to tell me about their black business and, you know, what they want to offer to people, I sincerely hope that you are offering a quality product to the people. Because, yeah, like I said, I want to give you this platform, but what you put out there after that, that's on you. So if you out here and you saying one thing, but you selling people junk, and then you wonder why people didn't support me, it's on you to make sure they get a quality product or quality service. So like I said, as you see this show, if you have a black-owned business that you would like to highlight, we can come and talk about it. You know, I said we can have a chat on the phone, on the live, or we can actually have you on the show itself. By all means, you will go to my Get Off My Lawn page, or you can send me a message on Eric Buckner Facebook, and we can set up something for you. But meanwhile, like I said, there are certain people out here who are doing black business, and I will try to highlight at least 1 or 2 of them every week when I do the show. A couple people I want to talk about today. Well, one, her name is Carrie Strong. Carrie Strong has started a black-owned business called Caramel Sweets. She is a baker, and she does baked goods. She does cheesecakes, cupcakes, birthday cakes, things of that nature. I've tried her product. It is very tasty. I will be ordering again very soon for my birthday. Got something very special planned for my birthday, by the way. We will discuss that next week. But anyway, yeah, her name is Carrie Strong. That's Kari Strong. Caramel Sweets. Is that you can find both of those pages on Facebook. I will also try to set up a link on the Get Off My Lawn info page so you can find her and check out what she's got going for you. And hopefully we can get her a little bit extra business so she can keep the party going. Again, that is Caramel Sweets. Matter of fact, I will attempt to put that on the board for you so you can see how it is spelled for yourself. Stand by. Like I said, I'm working on this technical stuff, people. I'm getting a little better at it, but work with me. This show's still in its inkling stage, but we getting it together for you. Absolutely. Let's see what we got. There we go. Caramel Sweets. You will find that on the Facebook page. And it shows her work. And like I said, it looks real tasty. You want to try that for sure. Another person I'm going to highlight is the person I talked about last week. His name is David Ford. And I'm starting to be more and more impressed with this young man because not only is he working on having a quality product for you guys, that is his website, by the way, www.dfceyewear.com. And I'm going to go separate screen here, folks. Hopefully that works out. Hey, did it. This is his website, and you will find several products that hopefully will be to your liking. He does luxury eyewear as well as apparel. So apparel, we got shirts, we got sweatshirts, we got purses, we got bags. Let me see now. I'm gonna attempt to show you this page. Hopefully I don't mess up nothing while I do this. But as I'm talking here, another thing that I really like about this young man is that, hold on, folks. Stay with me. Hopefully you guys are seeing what I'm seeing. But yes, he has several quality items, as you can see here in his eyewear collection. He also has, like I said, he has accessories. Those accessories include sweatshirts, handbags, got tank tops, polo shirts, leather bags, what have you. Like I said, hopefully you guys were able to see that correctly. I hope so. Now let me get back here to me. There we go. And yeah, like I said, another thing that really impresses me though about this young man is the fact that if you are a person that's on his page, which is David Ford Facebook, or also on his Instagram page, you will see what he's starting to do in terms of a daily post. He kind of gives you an outlook on what his thought process is for the day, kind of talking to his people, keeping you abreast on his progress with the business and his personal life. This is a well-grounded brother, very spiritual type individual. I really like what he has to say on a daily basis. He is very humble. He is very honest. I feel like he is putting forth good effort to make his business quality and get people quality products. And I'm looking forward to trying to have him on the show sometime next couple of weeks so he can explain it for himself because he explains his product and his business far better than what I'm doing right now. So shout out to you, David Ford. Hopefully you are catching this broadcast and I'm doing some of your work justice here. But like I said, I definitely want to have you on the show sometime in the next couple of weeks so you yourself can give the people an understanding of what you're working with, what type of product we got going on. So yeah, those are a couple black businesses that I'm pointing out today. If you have a black owned business or service that you want to have highlighted here, by all means, like I said, get in touch with me, Eric Buckner, Messenger, get off my page, get off my lawn info page, and I will soon have another getting old, people, forgive me. Yeah, I will still have another email address for you guys specifically to go to where you can send me the info and we can hook up from there. So that's that topic there. Back in the bag, folks. Back in the bag. All right, got a comment. Got to post this one. Great job, cousin. Proud of you. Good information. Food for thought. Thank you, cousin. I appreciate you. Thank you much. Okay, next we got a little discussion we're going to have about the 1%. Keep in mind, we are in the midst of a pandemic, as we all know. Despite that, the 1% are making more money this year than any year previous in the midst of this pandemic. What does that exactly mean? Well, keep in mind, to be considered part of the 1%, it really depends on what website you go to. I had two websites in particular that I checked into in regards to some of these numbers. The one website is financialsamurai.com. That's financialsamurai.com. The other one is a USA Today website. Now, according to financialsamurai.com, the average person who's in the 1 percentile, that is the 1% of all people making money right now in terms of salary, income, what have you, they are making at least $450,000 a year this year. The 1% people. Now, according to USA Today, they put that number because they kind of add inflation and what have you to it to be somewhere in the middle of $532,000 a year. Now, out of the people I'm talking to right here in the sound of my voice, I'm sure there's very few of you who are making that type of money. I personally actually know a couple of people who are. Now, that being said, they are doing pretty good from my standards, but of course, for them, they may have, prognosticated bigger numbers this year, not knowing that Corona was going to hit like this. But nonetheless, it is being shown that the 1% is making buku bucks during the pandemic. Meanwhile, the ones like myself who fit the 50% that's under that, because remember, if you listen to my Get Off My Lawn podcast, you'll know that I quite frequently state that the average salary here in America right now is around $52,000 a year. I am under that. The majority of the population is under that as well. Now, that being said, consider, okay, how many of those people are working and have worked throughout the whole pandemic, and how many of those people are like myself that have lost one or multiple jobs in this process? Now, it's already being said that part of the problem is that most Americans would be in big trouble if they had any type of emergency because they don't have at least $2,000, so they only have $1,000 put up in case anything wrong happens. It's also being said that credit card use is on the rise. Duh. If you don't have any money to use and you still have the credit, by any means necessary, right? We got to get through this thing. So, of course, that works out well for the credit people. Bottom line, you got to buy your goods from somewhere, and all the little businesses are closed down or half capacity, what have you. But meanwhile, the Walmarts, the Targets, the Amazons of the world, they are open for business and been open throughout this. And that's where most of us are getting most of our stuff, right? So yeah, they're gonna make record profits. It looks good for them. I mean, clearly because the few places that's definitely hiring full board right now are those places. Because they pretty much trying to get ready for winter, get ready for Christmas. Because of course, most of these retail type businesses make most of their money during this time of year. The three biggest holidays that most people spend money on are these: Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas. So yeah, they trying to get it ready. So the issue here is that while people that's making the money are making more money, the people that's not so much is making less. So the gap is getting wider, folks, and that's not a good thing. Yeah, be happy for the people that making a little extra, but in the same token, what kind of power you got if in the end y'all got all the money and we have none? That leads to perhaps some other issues that might be in the bag that I need to address. See what we got here. Next topic for discussion: Prime Day. Let's talk about Prime Day. Now, every year Amazon Prime has that 2 or 3 day window where they have these great magnanimous things that they put on sale for us to buy. And it usually makes out to be two of their top 5 busiest days of the year in terms of volume and money. The difference this year is that, yeah, Prime Day went on. I said I spent about a good half hour, 45 minutes looking through all the various things. Wasn't very impressed with much of it. You know, I've done Prime Day before. They've had much better deals for the most part and previous years. Now, part of it, you got to remember, most of the big ticket items that they normally would have, those are the things that people have been buying. TVs, the deep freezers, the video games, computers, what have you. Mainly because if you can't go out and do nothing, these are the things that we're using. One of the things I was looking for to see if they had a lot of good deals on exercise equipment because yeah, I'm signed up for the gym, but I'll be damned if I'm going. No, 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 no. Because bottom line, enclosed space, sweat, breath, showers, cleaning. No, no, no. Bad do. Bad do. Not getting that. Not getting that. Can't that. So yeah, there's that. Now another thing is the other big box stores were trying to take advantage of this time and take a little bit of that scratch away from Amazon by offering their own deals during these next couple of days. So you might want to check some of them out because when I went to Walmart, found some better deals. Now here's the problem. Here's the big problem. Keep in mind, Amazon has hired more workers, true. But you know, since the pandemic, they've been a little behind. For us paying this Prime, where you're supposed to get next day or 2-day shipping, not happening so much of late. Getting a little better, but still, some days, yeah, you'll get it 2 days or less, but more times than not, you got to throw an extra day, extra few days, hell, extra week. But that being said, the majority of their packages now are being delivered by Amazon type drivers. For all these other places, the Targets, the Walmarts, the Wayfair, and Wayfair a whole nother story. I've heard nightmares about ordering stuff from there and Wish for that matter. But most of these people are using the government mailing system or UPS, FedEx, what have you, to deliver the packages. And during the pandemic, these places not doing so good in terms of getting stuff there in a reasonable time. I've had a few packages that took a week, 2 weeks. Hell, I had one package that took 38 extra days before I finally got it. And these are the things that they are using to get their packages done. So my advice, particularly to the people that probably really could afford it, Walmart, y'all need to invest in a package delivery system. If you want to make some of that Walmart money jump up, y'all need to come up with a Walmart driver to drive y'all Walmart packages and deliver it the way Amazon is. If you could do that, y'all could compete. Y'all can go head up because you know, for the most part, the things that you are selling are cheaper than what you may get from Amazon. Just a personal thought on that one. So anyway, Prime Day for me, thumbs down. Not so much. All right, back in the bag, folks. What we got? What we got? All right, now, okay. There was some work the Supreme Court did today while other stuff is going on in other parts of the government. They have made a decision in regards to the census. They have determined that if you haven't been counted by today, I believe Friday at the latest, don't worry about it, wrap. Now, the census is going to be off, folks. The census is going to be off for two important reasons. One, the pandemic threw off everything. Still throwing off everything to this day. So normally they would have the people come to your house after a few weeks. Okay, you didn't fill out your census. You want to do it here? Let me write it down. We go ahead and take it back to the company, what have you. That's problem one. Problem two is that though they have done a better job this particular round in explaining why their census is important to people, they still have not gain people enough trust and understanding to know that in filling out the census, you're helping the government know where you need help at, as opposed to it just being government being intrusive. I mean, think about some of the questions that the census asks. You know how some people are about their personal business. In order for the census to be useful, they have to ask you some of your personal business. And some people don't like giving out their personal business, period. And then, of course, there's the people who come from other countries, and then bam, you spring census on them, and they don't fully understand what the hell that means. All they know is when the government come to their house, more than likely somebody getting took somewhere else that is not their house, or something to that effect. So no, they don't trust the census. They don't trust no parts of it. They're not filling out no extra. No, 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 no. And usually there's people that go out and explain that to them. They have people who speak their own language that give them a better understanding. But because of the pandemic and social distance and whatnot, less of those people have been dispatched to do so. Less those people have wanted to do so because they usually pay the census people a little decent rate of money. It's a good little seasonal part-time job, but is it worth dying for or getting sick for? I'm sure several people looked at that and was like, nope, not so much. Not so much. So that is the problem. So now what happens is they go with the numbers they got now. So let's just say you have a city like mine who usually does not fill out the census to a large degree the way they should. So keep in mind, I was on a show called Lions Uncut with Will Muhammad. Shout out to you, Will. And one of the things we did discuss was the census and how many people actually reside here in the city. Keep in mind, they usually account census numbers as what the population actually is. Now, granted, there's large, gaping, empty spaces here in Detroit. If you live here, you know that. Remember, at one point, Detroit had 2.5 million residents. It was one of the three largest cities in the United States. Right now, they're saying there's about a little bit under 700,000 people here. I dare to say no. I say it's closer to 8 or 9, but it's still considerably less than it was. But that being said, it's going to show even less than any of the numbers I put out there just now because a lot of people did not fill out their census the way they should. Let's just say 3/4 of the city did it. So now they're going to show Detroit having about 500 some thousand residents. And remember, they determine what money each city and which state gets based upon how many residents that they have counted. Your House of Representatives are figured out based upon population and where that population is in states. So let's just say at one point the city itself may have 2 or 3 representatives for the city itself, but now that person is just one. And meanwhile, other places that did count show a greater amount of population in that particular city, so they get an extra representative that probably should have went here. That and several other reasons is why you need to gain a better understanding of what the census is about and why you should fill it out, because it does affect what happens ultimately in terms of how the money is distributed to each city and each state to do what you need done. Like in terms of getting housing, like with some of this stuff with tearing down the abandoned houses, in terms of the roads, because kind of hard to fix the damn roads if you don't have the money to fix the damn roads. That's been an issue, and because of the pandemic, we didn't have time to really deal with that. But of course, when it's time for Gretchen's stuff to come up in 2 years, that's gonna be the first thing they throw in her face. Thought you were supposed to fix the damn roads. I was too busy trying to fix the damn state so we don't die. That's why I couldn't fix the damn road. We ain't had enough money to fix the damn road because half the money had to go to everybody to make sure they could still maintain. But I digress. Bottom line is you should have filled out that census. Now it's too late. Back in the bag, people. I'm still checking the comments to see if any of you guys have anything else you would like to discuss in the process of this. If so, just go ahead, put your comments. We can get to discussing what you may have in mind. But until then, I shall keep it going. Now we got some of our random thoughts. Now, I just threw some random thoughts on here because, you sit here, you watch TV, you listen to the radio, what have you, little stuff pops up. or you just kind of notice things out the blue. These were just a few random thoughts I came up with just today. At one point today, I was watching the Game Show Network. I've been checking that out every now and then because sometimes I get tired of watching the news or the usual stuff on the reel or all the other afternoon type stuff. Judge Judy. I know this is supposed to be Judge Judy last year. I'm kind of tired of Judge Judy. It's the same stuff every time. Yeah, she's good at what she does, but I guess it's more entertaining because she dogs every other person out. Kind of get tired of that after all these years. Just like people got tired of Jerry Springer after all them years, the same old act. It's time for Judy to go. But anyway, Game Show Network. In particular, I was watching match game, and Richard Dawson was on there. Now, for those of you who don't know who Richard Dawson is, you know that show Family Feud, the one that Steve Harvey hosts now. One of the original hosts of Family Feud was Richard Dawson. For those of you who are even older still, you might remember Richard Dawson from his days on being on Hogan's Heroes or some of the other comedy type stuff he did back there in the 70s and 60s. Well, nonetheless, Richard Dawson became a ladies' man as time went on somewhere down the line. And on the show, particularly on Family Feud, you got to check that dude in action. Richard Dawson was a player, y'all. Just look at how when the ladies come up, they got to that point, they was kissing this dude on the mouth. The husband would be right there next to the wife, and Richard Dawson was kissing their wife on the mouth, and it was cool with him. Richard Dawson was getting extra feels on them when they was checking the answers on the big board, all kind of touchy-feely with their hands. In 2020, Richard Dawson will be in all type of trouble. Me Too movement, the whole deal. But back then, he was a player, y'all. Just peep it out. Next time you watch Game Show Network, see some Richard Dawson stuff. That brother was on him. Another thing I noticed, you notice what's been trending on Netflix? Most of the top 10, they had that top 10 of what's people viewing in terms of top 10 stuff. And, they don't have it on Disney Plus, but they have some of these shows. A lot of the shows that we watched as kids, I'm talking about people between like 30 and 50, those are some of the main shows that everybody's watching right now. Then every major show I could think of from the 80s, with the exception, of course, the Cosby Show, his fault, at some point has been discussed at least for being reincarnated some type of way, rebooted. Think about it. How many people have talked about rebooting the Fresh Prince? That's about to happen. Rebooting Friends, rebooting Seinfeld and Martin, and the list goes on and on. But like I said, some of the main shows people watching now is Moesha, and noticing how selfish she really was. Mo was kind of, you know what I'm saying? She was kind of, I don't want to use that B word, but y'all know what I'm saying. The Game, they talking about redoing that yet again. How interesting some of those shows were, how some of those life situations that they come up in real life later on for some of these athletes. Scandal, that's a show a lot of people seem to be watching. It makes sense considering what's going on with the political climate now, things of that nature. So I find it interesting that these are the shows that people are looking into in terms of bringing back. Does that speak to how good those shows were then, or how much crap most of these shows are now? For you to decide, I guess. And another thing I'm noticing, man, y'all know I don't have no kids, but I do deal with them. Have y'all noticed this about these children? Most of these kids, and I'm pretty much talking between like 10 and under, they don't like to eat a lot of different stuff. You notice that? They like them same 3, 4, 5 things. 1, McDonald's. All these damn kids seem to love McDonald's, particularly them damn nuggets. 2, chicken strips. A lot of these kids like chicken strips. Let's see, what else? 3, of course, pizza. It's a lot of kids that just want to eat pizza every day. And then your kid may have his own particular stuff that they eat, but usually if it was a 7-day week and you left it to them to decide what to eat, 5 out of them 7 days, they want that and just that and plenty of that. And like I said, I haven't seen everybody's kids. I don't deal with everybody's kids, but I've dealt with enough kids in my walks of life to understand that a lot of these kids are creatures of habit in that regard. They like their same stuff. Just like when you let them go on YouTube or Netflix by themselves, they usually watch the same stuff over and over and over and over again. It's maddening to me. But yeah, that's just some things I noticed. That's just some random thoughts. We can move on. All right, people. Bad getting light, but we still got stuff to go. Like I said, you got things that you would like for me to discuss. I'm checking out the comments. Still not seeing much going on in terms of that. So I guess I'll keep it pushing. Okay, what we got next? All right. I knew we would get to this. Of course, the big political story today is the confirmation hearing for Amy Coney Barrett. She is the Supreme Court nominee that they are looking to scrutinize to determine whether or not they will confirm her. Let's be honest. It's Bush. It's Bush. We already know they have determined already she's in there. We got the votes because we got more votes and y'all have less, and we're going to do what we want to do anyway. Just like we did the last time. Just like we did when you tried to impeach the leader. We're going to do what we want to do because we got the votes and we can do so. There are 2 major things we have to concern ourselves with here, people. Thing 1, it is sad that we have come to this point in the political environment where it really comes down to I got more and you don't. There was a time, it seemed to me at least, where most of these votes were not based strictly on party lines. They were based on what was right for the constituents of the people you represent. Remember, you represent your state or your particular township area if you're a House of Representatives person. Your vote should be pertaining to what they want. You look at the numbers. Most of the people, like I said, they're not worried about no damn Amy right now. We need that damn money. Show me the money. Ain't worried about what's going on with this congressional stuff. Because, see, the whole thing is this. If you guys know this is what you're going to do, spare us this dog and pony show, man. Tomorrow, just come on here like, attention. We're killing the rest of this. We're just going to vote. Let's vote right now. Let's go. And then go ahead and put her on the court. And then we have to deal with the consequences. Now, let's talk about those consequences for a minute, shall we? Here's the problem. This person you're putting on the Supreme Court, and I'm not even going into their political, their Christian stance on religion, what have you. It matters, but it really should not. If you are a judge worth your salt, and it would appear based on the record that most of her judgments seem to be pretty fair and not questionable. But then you have to remember, this is a person who is 48 years of age. She will be the youngest Supreme Court justice on the panel when elected sometime next week or 2. Remember, the Supreme Court is a lifetime appointment. Now, God rest her soul, RGB, Ruth Bader Ginsburg, lived to be in her middle 80s. She's on the court for 20-some odd years. This person is even younger than her going into the court. If she lives to be long enough to be Ruth Ginsburg's age, that means she will be able to influence decisions for the next almost 40 years. 40 years. 40 years from now, you'll be what? It'd be a miracle, but I don't think I'll still be here. And I will safely assume a lot of you will probably be on the fence, considering my audience will not be here either. But that person still, if she lives long enough, keep in mind she's gonna get some of the best healthcare and stuff in the world while she's considering healthcare. It works out well for her and her family, regardless. But for us, it literally could be the meaning of life and death. Because remember, folks, if this is one of the main things they want to put her on the court for, to decide the Affordable Care Act, and as we still wait for some type of replacement for said act, that really probably don't exist. Um, these are big decisions she's making. The right to abortion, big decisions she's making. Now, keep in mind, there's ways around that even still, if you really understand your government. A little bit too complicated for me to try to explain, but that's neither here nor there. Bottom line is, if this person is truly qualified to be on the court, then I can't say I have no real problem with that. But in the same token, if this person is basically bought and paid for by the powers that be, and we just wait for that to play out, then we have a serious problem. The present administration will have put 3 of the 9 justices on the Supreme Court, and they are set to rule for at least the next 15, 20 years. So even if they are gone, you still have to deal with the remnants of what they have done. And then they want to talk about how they had to put all these other minor judges in place because the prior administration left all these holes. But they omit the fact that a lot of these judges that were attempted to put into place, including the judge that President Obama tried to put on the court before his election time was up, was denied, was not even allowed to have this discussion. A lot of people say it was unlawful, using the same argument that they're arguing against now, that, okay, well, this is an election year. He should not have that choice. But now, when the shoe is on the other foot and the other party, oh no, this is different. This is different because ABC. No, it's not. Not for real. And yes, there is some issue with the fact that she is a person with a mixed family. You would hope that would mean that she would consider everybody in said family when she makes her decisions. Because remember, she's also going to be the only person on the court that has kids that's presently in school age. In other words, kids under 18. So when things of that nature comes up, you would think that should greatly influence her decisions in regards to children's rights, rights of people of color, what have you, because she has a blended family. But we'll have to see on that. I hope, like I said, based on what she answered, what she didn't answer today, that these things don't become a bigger issue later on down the line. So anyway, that's what I got on that. Back in the bag, people, back in the bag. Bag getting low, we're getting there. All right. Let's discuss a problem that we have, particularly locally. People, we're having way too many car accidents. Way too many. Now, I'm not driving as much as I normally would because, one, the pandemic, and two, don't have no vehicle like that. But when I do get the opportunity to drive, a lot of y'all driving like there literally is no tomorrow. Why y'all going so fast? What's the big hurry? Half these places ain't even open fully still. What could you possibly be in such a hurry to get to where you cannot drive a speed limit? It seems like every single day on the news, on top of the murders and what have you, there is that one story about the fatal car crash. And they happen all hours of the day and night, not just at night. And you see the results. You see the vehicles. Now, I've been in an accident or two, unfortunately. Thank God I lived through it and I'm still alive and well to tell the story. So I know what a good, well, you can't say an accident is good, but basic accident like what's more or less a fender bender. And I know what a real bad accident look like. Some of these accidents is real, real bad. You can't even tell what kind of car or truck it was. They that bad. When the front of the car is now in the back of the car, how fast was that person going, or the person that hit them going, to cause that type of really? And yes, as you would figure, several of these people who are having the accidents and being tested, of course, it's coming out that they've been drinking. They've been high, who knows what, lean, drugs, maybe even high. Nonetheless, there are more accidents happening right now, and Michigan is one of the top 5 states in America in terms of vehicle accidents. And that does not help when you have to remember we are still one of the top 10 states in America for insurance rates. And of course, when they look at these accidents, that's part of how they're going to justify charging us this much money. Between that and the auto thefts and the lack of health insurance that these people have, what have you, this is why they will deem it necessary to charge you these bukus amounts of money for car insurance. Not to mention, of course, you also get a nice amount of hit and runs because most of these people, one, yeah, you hit somebody, you know you was wrong. You know something's gonna have to go on. But two, most of these people don't even have no insurance. So that makes it doubly worse when they get caught. And remember, there's cameras everywhere, folks. More of y'all getting caught right now than you realize. So if you hit somebody, I mean, turn yourself in. I'm not even believing I had to actually say that. But you shouldn't be going that damn fast anyway. What's the big hurry, y'all? Why? Why is it necessary? Right, Charles Duncan. Right. I don't get it. Slow down. Slow the hell down. Slow the hell down. Back in the bag, y'all. All right, got another. Let's see what we got. What we got? Okay. Speaking of crimes, we're talking about these violent crimes. Violent crimes is on the rise. FBI report came out a month or so ago naming my city, Detroit, the most crime-ridden city in the nation in terms of violent crimes in 2019. Now, that's a distinction we probably won't have in 2020 because, yeah, we got a lot going on still here, but I'm looking at some of these other cities, because sometimes I like to watch their local news, see what's going on there. The Chicagos, the New Yorks, the Los Angeles, so on and so forth. It's getting bad everywhere. And let's not just blame social injustice and the foolishness that's the pandemic. It's other stuff going on that's making some of y'all go buck wild. Y'all dealing with stuff like this, the wild, wild west out here. Why is that? Some of these things that you end up finding out these people got shot or had shootouts for be so minute and stupid. Stuff like a bag of weed or an incident between two kids playing video game. It's been all type of crazy stories about why some of these people had shootouts and arguments and disagreements. One of the craziest ones I've seen all year was that incident in Chicago where there was a homicide that led to the funeral. And the funeral, which of course was had in broad daylight, ended up having a shootout that spanned several blocks. In other words, multiple people came in multiple vehicles and started shooting at the funeral procession in the middle of them transferring the body to wherever it was going. And what makes it even crazier is that as this was happening, the people in the funeral procession proceeded to pull out weapons and shoot back at these people. They had a full-blown shootout in the middle of a funeral in broad daylight. Look up the video, Chicago funeral shooting. Particularly when they show the aftermath and they show how they have the little markers where the bullets were that landed, what have you. It shows these little markers all up and down 2, 3, 4 streets. That's a war, man. Whatever happened, was it really that deep? And then here today, they finally catch the person that executed a 6-year-old boy. Let that marinate for a minute. 6 years old. What can any person at 6 years old have possibly done to warrant someone shooting them in close range in the head? Also killing the parents in the process, but what could have possibly been the motivation for that? Kid was black. As you see today, the person that they are charging for the arrest was a person who was not black. What connection did all that have? Will we ever get the full truth as to why that happened? I'm not even trying to hear no, I'm sorry, I did it. It should have never freaking happened. Never in a million years should a person live to be 6 and die by the hands of someone's handgun, execution style. Nobody should really die like that. Let's be honest. But particularly somebody who could barely, probably even spell gun, let alone be killed by one. Some of the stuff that's going on right now is the most insane, outlandish things I've ever witnessed in my lifetime. And keep in mind, I'm about to be 50 years old, so I've seen quite a bit. I live in Detroit. I've seen quite a bit. I'm a person of color. I have seen quite a bit. But that being said, it's getting crazier and crazier by the day around here. Pandemic aside, they make you not want to leave your house ever. But even that don't matter, because hell, if you Breonna Taylor, rest in peace, people of that ilk, you get killed in your house, just doing you, just chilling, just trying to rest from a day. You get killed doing that damn shit. What are we to do, people? What are we to do? It's sad. All right, people. We in the bag, okay? Bag empty. I got one more left. And yeah, it's about to be your favorite subject, folks. We're about to talk pandemic. Some of y'all tired of me talking about the pandemic. I know this. I'm tired of having to worry about it, but yet and still it exists. It's 7, 8 months later, it exists. And the reason why it exists even more so than the fact that it exists is the fact that we are dealing with it in a bad way. We have gotten lax when it comes to the social distancing. Several of us refuse to put this on our face. We do not want to wear it. And some people have health issues where they can't wear it like that. Some people just don't like the way it feels. Some people have anxieties and say this makes it worse, what have you. No, this does not resolve COVID-19. This does not make it impossible for you to get it. But because it significantly reduces the possibility, why would you not do that? When several people have explained it to you. You could go on YouTube now and look at several hundreds of videos where people explain why wearing the mask is a better option than not doing any of it. You continue to listen to the leader, clown, and he tells you you can wear one if you want, if you don't matter. Hell, I didn't got sick, but now I'm better. That could be you. Only 1 or 2% of everybody that's getting this is dying, as somebody pointed out to me earlier in the week. But that 1 or 2% still represents 215,000 and counting here in the United States. Over 1 million people around the world. That's 1 million less people. And yeah, people will be quick to point out, yeah, people die every day or what have you. But if you could avoid those things when you do that too, if you could make it to where people couldn't get cancer, wouldn't you do that too? If you could make it to where people wouldn't die in car accidents, wouldn't you do that too? Yeah, if you could make it to where people wouldn't get shot and killed, you should do that too, but you don't. As I pointed out in my Get Off My Lawn audio cast, we started to devalue what it truly means to be alive. And that is a terrible thing. But let's get back to the point at hand. Today, much like yesterday, over 50,000 positive cases of coronavirus here in the United States. Today in Michigan, over 1,500, almost 1,500 positive cases. In Wisconsin, 20% of everybody that's being tested in the last 2 weeks positive. That's 1 out of every 5 people. 30 of the 50 states showing steady increases over the last 30 days in the virus. Remember, some people, this is a respiratory virus. Much, well, not exactly like the flu. Let's not go there. That's part of where everybody getting messed up at. It is flu-like in how it is transmitted. Let's put it that way. That being said, most of these virus-type particles tend to live longer on colder surfaces in colder environments, particularly indoor environments. The reason why the spread is not to the degree it has been is because a lot of the gatherings, fortunately, have been outside. But now that it's colder and we have to be inside again, but yet social distance and whatnot, how many of you are going to do that? Some of you are living on borrowed time. Let me be honest with you. You're living on borrowed time because you feel like because it's been 6, 7 months and you have not contracted the virus to your knowledge, you're going to be okay. Somehow you are immune. You aren't exempt. You ain't got to wear this thing. You don't need that. You ain't got to use this hand sanitizer. You don't need this. You're going to be okay. I'm going to do what I've been doing all this time. And the most dangerous of you have that same philosophy that I'm really, really starting to hate. If I get it, I get it. And if I die, I die. What the hell wrong with you? Yes, we all at some point have to leave this life. But when you purposely do things that put yourself in a position to leave it sooner than you should, why on earth would I, a person who values my life, want to be around you when you don't value yours? Now, some people, unfortunately, they have to go out here and work and be a part of society. They are critical to keeping this ball rolling. I pray for them every day because people really not appreciating some of the things they are doing. And again, last week we talked about the virtual learning and the teachers. Again, shout out to you guys. You are doing us a great service. Even though the kids aren't learning what they should be learning, and I will get into that sometime soon, because that spans even beyond the pandemic scenario. You're still doing your best to keep them afloat and keep yourself afloat at the same time. So shout outs to you guys. But ultimately, people, what we got to remember is that this thing is not going away anytime soon. It is the middle of October now. 2 of the vaccine trials have already been put on hold because there's discrepancies that they found, and they need to work them out before they can continue. So the promise that the leader has made that there will be a quote unquote cure for the virus, a vaccine for the virus before election day, it's not going to happen. And if it does, quite honestly, I think you're a fool to take it because it has not been properly tested. When they do come with a vaccine, it has not been tested to the full extent that most vaccines have been. Again, don't just take my word for it. YouTube, Google, find you one of the doctors that actually do such things. Let them break it down to you. They'll tell you it ain't so simple as the leader is making it out to be. And it's so sad that they did a poll the other day, and they simply asked people who support the leader. If he told you you should wear the mask all the time, would you do it? And then everyone to a man was like, yep, sure would. Yep, absolutely. Then I know it's real. Why does it take all that? When it's people who do this for a living that's telling you this is what it is, and you choose not to listen to them because it's inconveniencing you, or Lord forbid, because being home all the time ain't fun. I gotta have fun. We only live once. I hate to have to be your child or your loved one and have to tell about what happened in 2020 when you died because going to Disneyland or Cali or Florida was more important than maintaining and living your life until a time to where the virus is under control. Because it will happen. It will happen. And at that point, let's enjoy life then. Let's enjoy even more because we understand based on what has happened that life is far more precious than we ever gave it credit for. Like I said, I'm fortunate enough to live another week or two to make it to my birthday. I will be very thankful to see 50, more so than I ever would have been previous to this. So that being said, we're gonna wrap it up, folks. I don't know about you guys, but I'm about to check out the rest of this baseball game, see who got it going on, and we will go from there. Thank you for checking out the show. Thank you for joining. Like I said, there will be rebroadcasts, so if you have comments, I will address them at that time. This is Get Off My Lawn Live. I've been your host, Eric Buckner. Until next time, I will see you. Bye-bye for now.